Well, Steve Art's 89. Well, I just watched season 2 of the Interview with the Vampire, which is the second part of the book Interview with the Vampire, which I haven't read, so okay. It started off really bad. Louis and, is it Claudia? I think I'm going to call her Claudia all through the video. I can't remember what her actual name is. I hope that's it. They go back to the old country to try and find the origins of the vampires. They don't. They just find some skeletons in a castle, fortunately, and go back to America. They find a troupe of vampires who are running a theatre out in the open. They join them. Claudia finds community with them. She hunts with them. She joins the troupe. She becomes a actress. They stage a play around her where she's playing a little girl. She hates it. Louis falls for Amand. They start a relationship, although Amand is a really horrible little betraying thing. He knew from the start that Lestat, who founded the theatre, was killed by, or they tried to kill him. He eventually, the rest of the troupe write a play about them, basically putting them on trial, and he directs it, and they basically do put them on trial for all their crimes against the vampire race. They end up killing Claudia with son, and they end up burying Louis in a grave, or in a coffin full of rocks, and he somehow escapes, and he ends up killing pretty much all the members of the troupe, and he confronts, he gets back with Amand, who he doesn't realise how far he betrayed him, and he confronts Lestat and tells him basically, well, I'm going to be with this man and you're going to have to live without me, and that's apparently punishment enough, so no ego there. They go off and live happily ever after for 70 years. But then, of course, they invite the journalist over to write this book, and when they're going through it, the journalist starts picking holes and pointing out things that don't make sense and contradict. I'm like, I didn't notice that. And I'm like, I'm not really surprised, because I watch Murder, She Wrote, and I don't work it out. I just wait for Jessica to tell me what happened. So Louis puts it together. He confronts Amand and finds out that he betrayed him, and he actually was trying to kill him. He was supposed to die with the daughter, and Lestat actually saved him by saying punishment instead of, I guess, death would have been the other option. Knowing he would escape, or he was going to save him, or whatever happened, then, So he throws Amand through a few bookshelves and a wall. He basically says, I'm leaving. When I come back, you better be gone. And he tells him not to touch the journalist, and trusts him and leaves him with the journalist. He, of course, we don't see this, don't find out this till later, but he turned the journalist, but the journalist still wrote the book. It's a huge bestseller, sold like 5 million copies, and we have a very wonderful scene of him on a talk show, basically being doubted that it's a real story, and telling the journalist where to go. Before Louis calls him, or he calls Louis, I can't remember who called who, but he's not taking the royalties, and he's basically gone home to New Orleans. He finds Lestat, and they have an understanding. He basically asks him, did you save me? He said yes. They come to some sort of peace within a house that's being torn apart by hurricanes. And then he goes back to his home. I think it's was it in Dubai? Yeah, I thought he went back to New Orleans. Now I'm confused. No, he must have been in Dubai at the end, because he was in his tower looking over the city, and he basically was listening to all the vampires talk smack about him. He said, look, this is where I live. My security are mortals, but my front door, my windows are open on my balcony. Come say it to my face. Basically, I own the night. If you're not going to come at me, shut up. And that's where it ends. So the theatre element was interesting. Putting them in trial was interesting. The relationship with Amand it never really worked for me, and I didn't like the actor, and I'm glad it makes sense. I mean, the character turned out to be a hideous little betraying troll, and it was just, I didn't really remember that part of the movie, so I need to go watch the movie again. I never read the book, so I don't know how far it strayed from the book. I just have a sense of how far it strayed from the movie, because I kind of remember it. But the next season's going to be the Vampire Lestat, and I'm hoping Louis will make some appearances and it won't just be Lestat. But I haven't read that one either, so I don't know. But I enjoyed it. The production value was just as good. The acting was just as good. The directing was just as good. Everything was just as good as the first season. It wasn't an uneven, transition between chapters or anything like sometimes we get between seasons of shows. But I really enjoyed it, and I initially was scared. I thought they were going to be in wherever they were in the first episode for like the whole season, but they weren't. And I'm just looking forward to the next season. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the seasons, and I guess how far they stray from the original. And I guess I probably should listen to the actual audiobooks or something, because they're kind of iconic, and I really should know, Interview with the Vampire books better.